Good evening, everybody. This is John Marola from Keeping It Real Section 5 Football, and this is our second season. Oops, I got to cheat. I know. This is our 26th episode of our second season, and overall, this is our 78th episode of Keeping It Real Section 5 Football. So, as I always say, we're just moving right along. Tonight, as you can see, our desk, our middle table. First, I have to go to my co-host over on my far right, Section 5 Hall of Fame coach from Fairport for football and baseball, Coach Dave Lane. And Coach, thank you. Thank you.
Good to see you.
And our man in the middle. This week, we have the pleasure of having the head coach of Canandaigua. I can't say Braves anymore.
You can.
Can I?
Sure.
Wow, that's awesome. Because I grew up on it.
Yeah.
Jeff Welch, Coach, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yep. And tonight we're just going to talk a little bit about things down in Canandaigua, what's been going down there. And one thing I do know, that your program, I mean, year after year after year, I mean, you guys are doing something right down there. You guys have been at the top of Class A or actually any class that they've been in, you know, and that all comes down to coaching and players and the community and everything. So, anyways, let's start by, letting people know, how did you start? How did you get into it? I know, we were talking earlier about your father.
Yep.
And my father. It's kind of came into the blood.
Absolutely.
So.
As you said, it was a choice to get into it, but it was our family's lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
My whole life. That's the only thing I knew. So my father was an assistant coach for Jim Butterfield for the first 10 years of my life in Ithaca. So I was very fortunate to grow up around that type of man, that type of leader, and that type of culture that he had. And my father played for Jim Butterfield. Mm-hmm. So then he became the head coach. I think it was 1994 was his first season. So again, I was the kid that was at every practice during preseason. I was there from 6 a.m. until the last meeting at night. At 10 p.m., I'd go home and get up and do it with him. And not because I was forced to do it. I just enjoyed I enjoyed being around the guys. Mm-hmm. I felt like I was part of it.
Yep.
And they treated me as such. So when you're in that type of environment as a young kid, obviously you learn a lot and you learn to love it. You learn to love the sport and you learn to love being around football and being around a team and being around coaches. So that's really where it all started for me. I played 3 sports in high school, played 2 in college, played for my father at Ithaca, played lacrosse for Jeff Long. So again, just around really, really tremendous leaders. Then went and GA'd at Springfield College for 2 years under Mike DeLong. Okay. Very successful coach there. And then, with that experience as a graduate assistant for those 2 years, I had the experience of being a collegiate coach and enjoyed it, learned a lot. But I think I always deep down I knew I wanted to be a high school football coach.
So let's back up a little bit, Jeff. As a young guy now around the Ithaca practices, what'd you do during the day? How'd you spend your day?
Tackling dummies, playing catch with the players.
Yeah, try not to get in trouble.
Try not to get in trouble. Loved the dining hall in between practices.
There you go.
So I had a lot of fun, but I learned, And then game days, people usually would ask me, hey, you must have loved being on the sidelines during the games. That's not what I did. I was playing. I was going out on the side yard of the stadium and playing pickup football because I just loved playing. So, there was a lot of learning, but it wasn't necessarily learning.
Well, it's got to be fun, too.
It was a lot of fun.
Did you attend Ithaca High?
I did. I grew up right in Ithaca, went to Ithaca High School. Yep.
And you played football and lacrosse at Ithaca High? And
I did, and I wrestled in the winter.
Okay.
Yep.
So you're at Springfield.
Mm-hmm.
You doing recruiting there, or what's your job at Springfield as a GA?
You are a full-time football coach. So we had our own, and that's the great thing about Springfield College is that when you're in it, they treat you as a full-time coach. So I coached the linebackers. I had my own position. I had my own area to recruit. So we were on the road. You have every responsibility of a full-time coach while getting your master's paid for. And the way the program's set up is there was 3 full-time coaches, the head coach and the 2 coordinators, and then there was 10 GAs.
Mm-hmm.
So they're all young guys like myself. So we obviously had a lot of fun together, but learned a lot of football and had a lot of responsibilities.
What was your degree in out of Ithaca?
Athletic. At Ithaca was physical education,
Okay.
and then it was athletic administration at Springfield.
And at Springfield, did the thought enter your mind of continuing in the college ranks at all?
It did. When I finished Springfield, I kind of took a break actually from football and coaching, and just the lifestyle I've lived for the first 23 years of my life, because it was all school and football. That was or school and sports.
Yeah.
So I took a little bit of a break, kind of to figure some things out, and decided that I want to get back into high school. But yeah, I was thinking about college. I mean, that's kind of the reason you go to Springfield.
Sure.
That's the avenue to become a college coach. But deep down, I always knew that it was high school that I wanted to do.
Now, other than your dad, how about some early mentors or role models? Anybody stand out?
Yeah, as an athlete, I always wore the number 22, and that was in honor of you guys know the name Jeff Whitman.
Yeah.
So, and he's one of the best players in college history, if not the best. So, I was always around guys that were tremendous athletes, but even better people, and Jeff Whitman was kind of one of those guys as a younger guy. But in terms of the coaching world, I feel like every coach that I've had an influence on me. And I think a lot of that comes from my dad. I appreciated coaches no matter who they were, whoever was coaching me. I respected them and the knowledge and what they were giving me. So I would say, almost every coach that I've had, had some influence.
You were saying earlier about Coach Butterfield. And as far as that, I go back to my experience when I first met him, too. It's like, after you met him and talked to him and you walked away, it felt like he's something.
Yep.
He's not the average guy in the street.
No, he's not. He was not.
And he was a person that I really admired and looked up to, and his words were in stone.
They were always spot on.
Yes.
He just had that way about it. Even I was 8, 9 years old. I still came away with that type of sense from him, and I'm sure you've talked to Coach Giordano about him a lot of times. I mean, he, as you said, his word is stone in a lot of people's lives.
Yep. That's awesome, though.
So, coming out of Springfield, then how do you end up at Canandaigua?
So
or was that not your first?
It was.
Okay.
It was. I went back to Ithaca, and I substitute taught, coached some wrestling, coached some lacrosse, looking for phys ed jobs, and I knew of Canandaigua through wrestling because I always wrestled in the Bradshaw wrestling tournament. I don't know if you remember that one, but
sure.
it was one of the best in the state. And I remember as a high school kid going to that event, and it was by far the best event of any sporting event in any sport that I had been a part of. Mike Foster was running the show, and everything was first class. And you walk into that school and you see the trophy, and everything's just, as I said, first class. So when the phys ed job opened up, it was like, I remember this place, and it was a special place, and I'm sure it still is. So I applied for the job, and didn't immediately get it, actually. I didn't get the job, but then some things turned around that another position opened up. So I became a phys ed teacher and assistant coach for 2 years.
Right at the high school, the teaching job?
No, I was actually at the primary school, so
Okay.
kindergarten through second grade.
All right.
Yeah, which is a whole other world.
Yeah,
Yes,
gives
it
you a
is.
different perspective.
Yes,
Sure
it
does. Yeah. And I coached modified wrestling and helped out with lacrosse, so I was doing 3 sports. When
Nice.
I started, yeah.
So as an assistant for how long?
2 years. Yeah. Ran the offense my second year in with Pete Hall was the head coach, and then became the head coach. Yeah.
Job opened up. You were ready to jump on it.
I was ready.
All right. By this time now, you've been around coaching for a long time.
Yep.
And I'm sure you've already developed a coaching philosophy.
Now or then?
Then, when you are young and you think you know it all.
Right.
What young Coach Welch taking over the Canandaigua job? What were you trying to sell to your guys?
Yeah. I don't think I thought that I knew. I knew I had a lot of work, and I knew that I didn't know much. And the thing that I knew I needed to do was get everybody on the same page. And the best way to do that is through relationships. People trust me, I trust them.
Mm-hmm.
And by that time, I had developed those relationships with a number of people. But when you become the head coach, then it's like, okay, there's a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot more people to establish that type of relationship with. So that's kind of the way I went. I wanted people that I knew I could trust, and that they knew they could trust me. And I felt like I had a pretty good blueprint in terms of how to win, just because of what I'd been around, what I'd been exposed to, and the places that I had, as I said, grown up around and played in and coached in, had been successful. And so kind of just use that blueprint along with building those relationships to that was the initial.
How much of your dad's influence was on you as far as coaching and play calling and all that stuff?
I would say most of it.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be yourself. We're not the same people. Obviously he's the person I always look to in terms of values and how to treat people. But we're not the same personality. So in terms of the actual on-field coaching, I think our style is probably much different. But the things, the core foundations, the values, that's what I really took from him. In terms of the X's and O's and stuff, we try to adapt to our personnel every time. He'll throw his 2 cents in now every now and again.
Of course,
it's usually wrong, but no.
You better be careful with that.
Is that unsolicited, or do you ask for help?
He's pretty careful. He knows. He knows when I want his input, I'll ask for it.
There you go.
No, but he's very good about that. He's reserved, yeah.
But when you were talking about that, I was going back in my mind a little bit, and like we were saying, being the son of a coach, I was coaching in Aquinas, and we were playing Fairport, and my dad's on the other side of the field, and our kids are coming off on defense, and they're like, Coach, they know our plays. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, they're saying the same thing we're saying. I go to him, you see the little guy over there with the white hat on? That's my father. So I got the stuff that you're doing came a lot from that guy over there. So, yeah, it's just giving them their props, I guess.
Absolutely.
And like you said, whenever I needed help, he was there.
Yeah. Just
like I'm sure your dad was, Dad, I need to ask you something.
Yep. And it's not often, but it's usually more about not an on the field or X's and O's things. It's about, hey, here's a situation.
How do you handle this?
How do you handle this with this type of person or personality and this type of dynamic? What would you have done? Honestly, a lot of times I just would think, this is I know how he would handle it, and just try to do it that way. But, it's always good to get that, have that discussion, too.
And get that support a little bit. It always helps.
Yep.
Now, you've obviously had great success at Canandaigua. I think the public knows that. What can we look forward to this coming year?
We're gonna have some new faces out there. That's for sure. We had a lot of talented, experienced kids the last couple of years that are no longer there. But
what was your senior class last year? Football. How many?
The number's usually around the same. I think it was like 18 or 19, which is a little bit bigger. We're anywhere from usually 15 to 20 kids. But there was some very talented kids this past year.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. But we like to think we reload, and we got some talent coming up through, and some guys will have some opportunities that I think we can still be pretty successful.
And as far as X's and O's, you'll run the same schemes?
That's yet
Without
to be
giving
seen.
away any secrets, of course.
Well, honestly, offensively, we really adapt to our person. It's high school, right?
Sure.
So you can't recruit the kids for specific
Yep.
roles, so you have to adapt. Or we feel we have to adapt if we're going to get the most out of our kids. So, so there will be some changes, as there always are offensively. Defensively, we're pretty similar every year. We might change again based on the personnel.
Sure.
We'll change a few things, but yeah.
And we were talking earlier about your opening game against Athena. Was that a home or away?
That's away. It'll
At
be
Athena.
Thursday night.
So
Yep.
you're coming back into Greece.
Back in the Greece. Yeah.
The west side.
We've been a few times over the years with obviously Athena and Arcadia. You know, we're here at least once a year.
And the one year I was at Olympia, we played
Yep.
you guys out there.
Yeah.
And that was almost like an arena game. I think it was like 48-28, you guys, and it was just,
Yeah. Evans Field, right? Yeah.
No.
No?
No.
Oh, it was up. It was in the new stadium.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That was the game that, we were talking about it, that Dave Neiman's son,
Jackson. Yeah.
Jackson, had 2 picks against us.
Okay.
Remember that now?
Yeah. I do remember that. Yeah.
And then after the game, I go over and see Dave and Jack and, congratulate. I said, you know what? 2 in one game, and it has to be against, it's just, just the love, though, of,
You were a little proud, even though it was a
Yes.
You were a little proud.
Yes,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Dave was just ear to ear,
Yeah. Yeah.
How about your division this year, Coach? Who else will you have?
Our divisions kind of remain the same, with all the talk of the federation and the league scheduling.
Which
We're kinda-
begs another question we'll
Sure.
get to in a minute.
Sure. And to lead into that, like, my perspective is, and probably everyone around our size is the same, is we're kind of on the outside looking in, because whether we went federation or league, our schedule kind of remained the same no matter what. But
Do you play outside at all? Outside of the section?
Our cross, no, not outside.
Okay.
I've only in my
Last
career
year?
we've only played outside of the. Only really had the opportunity to play outside of the section one time. We were in the dome last year, which was outstanding. Not even just because it was the dome, but to go play somebody else.
Yes.
It was very, very cool. But that was the only opportunity we've had. So our crossovers will be Irondequoit and actually East is not necessarily in our division, but they're in the Class A2 division. Yeah.
Let's talk about scheduling. Any thoughts on federation versus
league.
Well,
the league?
I have close friends that are small school coaches, and I have close friends that are large school coaches. So I can empathize with both sides of why one would want one and one the other. Do I have any thoughts on the resolution? No. I mean, as I said, we're right in the middle. It doesn't really matter. So
Yeah.
I listen to the thoughts of other people, and my opinion is I think we could do a better job of making it work for everybody, and just appease there's nothing that can be done that's going to satisfy
100%,
everybody.
yeah.
No, never. In anything to do. But there's probably ways we could come up with something that more people would be happy.
Let's build on that a little
Yeah.
bit then. We have a new chairman of Section 5 football. Let's say Jeff Welch had that job.
No thanks. No.
Yeah, but just theoretically,
Yeah.
first of all, how do you see the state of Section 5 football right now?
I think it's very good. I think there's a lot of very good coaches that are putting a lot of effort to making the most of their program. And I think that's the most important thing, is that coaches are focusing on how can I make my program the best that it possibly can be. When everybody's doing that, it's going to elevate everybody's level of play, and so I think we have that. Is everybody on the same page? Obviously not, with everything that's been going on with the scheduling. But there's a lot of people involved, and again, there's a lot of opinions, and one decision impacts some schools much different than others, and that's a tough thing. There's no easy answers.
Other than the scheduling,
Yeah.
is there anything you could think of that you would do to improve the state of Section 5 football?
I think it goes back to what I was saying, is that coaches focus on just continuously trying to make their programs better. And I think the brotherhood of Section 5 coaching is, I mean, you guys have been around it for so it's very strong. You know, when I go to the clinic every year, I mean, I think we are one of the most well-represented sections at the clinic, and probably are the closest knit. Like, everybody's together hanging out and having a great time. Like, I think we have that more than most other sections. So you have that. I mean, can things improve? Always. But I don't necessarily have anything. I think the scheduling is the big thing, yeah.
What is your we were just touching a little bit upon you guys' first game last year was at the Carrier Dome. What is your thought about a one-game-a-year game like that? How do you feel about that as far as, you know, a coach, and is it too much?
No, I think that's would be I would love that. And kind of going back to your question about Section 5, you know, how many state champions do we have? It's been a little while, right? And I think part of that might be we're not competing outside of our sections during the regular season, or at least having the opportunity to go see, wow, that's how they do that downstate, or that's how they do that there
in Buffalo. Or
we gotta change some things or figure out whatever, but we don't necessarily have that experience. So when we get into the state tournament, we're playing some teams from other areas, you know, maybe we're surprised a little bit. Whereas if you implement that into the regular season, you have that experience that you can build on.
My experience off of that, and you know, I didn't want to put words in your mouth, but I knew you were going to say exactly what you were going to say. And just to piggyback a little bit off that, when I was at Aquinas, when Dave and all that, and we were playing most of our teams, you know, we were playing Buffalo. We went down to play Camp McKinley down in Ohio. That made it better for our kids. It wasn't a big deal. The first time we went to the Carrier Dome with the team, it was like, hey, Carrier Dome, it's cool, that's it. The other team, it was us, and I won't even say the other team. We got at the Dome at the same time. Our kids get off, they look around a little bit, they get inside. Their kids come out, they're taking pictures. They get inside, our kids are in the locker room, and that first quarter, we just jumped them. So, and I think, you know what I mean, having that experience, and what I've been trying to say to people is, you know, I think if we open up our little box and start playing more teams from Buffalo, from Syracuse, from down, you know, Southern Tier, it just makes football here better.
100% agree.
And
100% agree. Yep.
But
it's not as easy as just, and that's where we kind of have to look at the perspective of an administrator, and it's not as easy as just saying let's do that.
Yeah, I know. I know.
There's a lot that goes into that, and you know it.
But as far as scheduling is, have that in the schedule. One game, that's all we're talking about.
Yep.
One game a year, you know what I mean? Even if you do like, well, this year I know that last year UPrep played St. Anthony's up here at the U of R.
Yeah.
Now this year they're going down to St. Anthony's to play.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's a two-year schedule that they got set up. And that just makes it better. You know, it's just...
It would have to be in conjunction with other sections, too, though. I mean, everybody would have to... Like, if you played a Week 0 game...
and have to line up...
And line it up with somebody else.
Yeah.
And everybody's got to do it. Otherwise, you...
I do think the state of football, New York State football, we keep expanding the season a little bit at a time. Like last year, we had that... This upcoming year, we have that extra week. And I hope that's... You know, with the intention of adding more games.
Yeah,
you know, that's and when you add more games, then you add more opportunities, like you're talking about. You know, this will be the first time that we scrimmage, an official scrimmage before before our game in, I don't know, 4 or 5 years.
At least 5 years.
Yeah, just because they expanded that out one more week for that practice. And now next year, hopefully that scrimmage turns into another game.
Yes,
yes.
And then we throw another scrimmage in.
It's something,
you know, in the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Well, Coach, you're well into your off-season stuff now. What's going on?
So we do everything in the morning. We go 3 days a week. We lift. We get good numbers, and we invite everybody from. Well, we have some 3rd and 4th graders in there.
Nice.
It's just the way it's gone so far. The kids are interested in it. And then once or twice a week, we'll go down the field a little bit, do some football stuff. But I think we found a really good balance between letting kids be kids in the summer. I think that's important, but also being prepared for preseason. If we get the preseason and the kids are burnt out already and the summer was awful, you're not going to have a very good preseason or season. So we've kind of found that balance of being prepared, but allowing kids
when it becomes another day at the office, that's no good. There still has to be that intensity.
Yep.
That leads me to another thought here. How do you handle your multi-sport guys?
So, as I mentioned, I don't know if I mentioned it, but I played 3 sports in high school, played 2 in college. So, for me to say anything other than that's what we love, with multi-sport athletes, not only is hypocritical, but I truly believe in it. And the number one reason why is that kids are learning to compete. Let's say a kid only plays football, right? In 365 days in the year, they're legitimately competing only 8 times at 8 or 10, whatever. You don't learn to compete that way, in my mind.
Yes.
So we live off our multi-sport athletes. I think every single kid on my team plays another sport, and coaches work together with their schedules because there's a lot of stuff in the off season these days, but we work together. Devin York, who's the lacrosse staff, I've been on his lacrosse staff, so. The only way it works is if coaches work together.
Yes,
of course.
And promote it legitimately, not just say that it's important, but legitimately
Showing
believe it.
Yes.
And
now, everybody says that, but I don't know if it's always the case because I think the last number of years, we've compromised kids a little bit, forcing them to make decisions where it's just not healthy.
Nope.
So you've got a conflict. You've got a 7-on-7 and the kid's got a basketball thing. How do you work it out?
That's the thing is it's planning and preparing so that you have as little of those conflicts as possible. Now, there are going to be conflicts, but usually we know ahead of time that Johnny's not going to be there because he's away at a lacrosse tournament. And, we're communicating those types of things early on so that there's very few of those conflicts. Now, does it come up? Absolutely.
Yep.
And you have to be flexible. You're a high school football coach, and
there's only so many athletes in the school.
There's only so many athletes, and as long as it's not compromising the morale and the dynamics of your team. But again, most of them are multi-sport athletes. But if it starts hurting the team in terms of why isn't he here? But again, if you prepare and plan well enough, I think you can avoid those conflicts as much as possible.
Great. That's awesome. Coach?
You in this, there aren't a lot of lifers anymore, as far as I can see. You in this long term? Or you got other plans?
Do I talk like it?
I'm asking you.
This is my passion. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That's good news.
Yep. This is what I love to do. I love my family's involved. I got 3 young kids. My wife loves it. So I'm very fortunate in that aspect. And so unless there's some unforeseen reason, which I don't see one.
You're not going into the portal.
No, not going into the portal.
All right. So from being young Jeff Welch starting out to the veteran coach as you are now, if you were, I'm sure somebody talked to you about it when you were a young guy. If you're going to give some advice to a guy or a girl starting out in the coaching field now, what would it be?
You got to love it. You got to love it for multiple reasons. You got to be willing to work. So I would say, you know, I don't know if there's any advice that I could give, but other than you got to know this is what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not sure, it's not going to work out very well, just because you won't be able to give your all.
And the kids see that.
Absolutely.
From day one, they'll see that.
Absolutely. Your coach, your people that you're working with will see that. So you got to make sure you're passionate about it. Now, after that, be patient. It's not gonna come. It's day by day. You have to have that consistent effort and vision, and effort to achieve that vision.
How's it changed since you started?
Like what? Section
Coaching.
5 football,
Coaching in general.
I don't know. You know, everyone says kids these days or anything, and people have been saying kids these days for many, many years. I think where we are coached is just Section 5, New York State football. I don't see a huge change since when I started. Now, when you talk about college ranks and you get NIL and all that stuff, that's a whole different world that I'm kind of glad I'm not part of. I wouldn't know how to handle that stuff. But I still think in what we do as high school coaches, when your foundation is building teams and making sure that kids want to be a part of that team, you know, that I think hopefully that type of mentality can last forever. You know, that's what I'd like to think.
Interesting. Well, before we get off, let me just go through a couple things. We were just talking earlier off camera, and I was going through some stuff on our Facebook as far as views, people watching, subscribes, and I let these guys know we have one subscriber that I have to mention, and I'll tell you where he's from, but I don't know who it is, but I might have an idea. We have one subscriber that subscribes to our show. He lives in Pakistan. And I don't know how it happened, but I got a feeling it might have been an old I have an old player at Greece Olympia that is over on that side of the world a little bit and does some martial arts stuff over there, Donnie Carlacross. And I'm thinking maybe it's him because I don't know anybody else.
Well, John, I think a natural goal then would be to have somebody from each of the continents
come here
to just be a subscriber or a viewer.
Oh, that would be excellent.
Yeah.
And I know I skipped over that, right when we started, but if you have not subscribed, first of all, if you have subscribed to our show, we have to say thank you. We appreciate it. It helps our show out a lot. If you have not, just hit the little button, the subscribe button down in the corner, and subscribe to our show. The other thing that people may not know either is our show comes out every Thursday night at 5 p.m. So if you're not home Thursday night at 5 p.m., the show will be on YouTube. So when you get home and have dinner or whatever, you want to pop it on, just go on YouTube, and it comes up every Thursday at 5 p.m. Our show automatically just comes up if you subscribe. So please subscribe to our show.
No, we are closing in on the Kelseys, right? We're right behind them.
Yeah, they're getting nervous.
Okay.
Yeah,
I thought so.
Do you know how much they're making, by the way? Oh my God! Like they need to have more money. But God bless them.
I will mention though, that, I think what you guys are doing great is fantastic. The Brotherhood of Section 5 coaches. I know most of them. But then there's guys that you've had on here that I had never met.
Yeah.
And you get to know them a little bit.
Yes.
So when our paths will cross inevitably at some point, you kind of you know them a little bit more.
Yeah,
So
I've seen you on that show.
Yeah. And you get to know their personality and what they're made of. And so I think that's a pretty
awesome.
Cool thing.
Thank you. Yeah. And with us doing it, this gave us an opportunity as, former coaches to, I know you. No. But our new chairman, Coach, Tyler Witter over down there at Oakfield, I had the opportunity going down to interview one of his players this past season and got to meet him and know him a little bit. And one thing, I was telling these guys, he's a great guy, great guy. And I think he will be a big plus for Section 5 football. Get to know him. After you meet him, then but he is a great guy. Great guy.
Fantastic.
So with that, and also the other thing I have to mention is our sponsors. We always have to, and our number one sponsor is Coach Giordano. And that'll be coming up in a couple of weeks. We got Westside Camp coming up first week in August. We'll be up at Greece Olympia. We're going to do the same thing we've been doing the last year. Is we're going to interview 14. We'll be there for 3 nights, and we're going to interview 4 different coaches every night and a couple of their players every night. So we're going to do 4, and there's 12, 4, 8, 12, and the players too. Get to know the players a little bit on this year's 2025 season, and after the Westside Camp, now we're here.
We're in it.
Yeah, we're definitely in it. It's for real. Mm-hmm. So just stay tuned. Next week episode we were talking about earlier a little bit too. When I was presented with this, I kind of was tiptoeing a little bit because it's a brand new thing with me, especially as far as high school, and even more so, it involves Section 5 football. We're going to talk about a little bit about the NIL and how that's now come upon Section 5. The Hampton kid from Monroe, who just verbaled to Oregon, just set up a deal with Chick-fil-A here in Rochester on a deal, and he went through a sports agency, and we're going to have the CEO, president of that come in. It's called Glory to Glory. His name is Antoine Hyman, and we're going to have him on our show next week. And honestly, and I've said this before earlier, I think I'm going to have more questions off air than I am on air, just because this is something I really don't know about. We don't know about, but if it's involved in Section 5 and it hopefully be a plus, let's get involved. Let's know what it's about, and then just go from there. But I think next week's up is going to be very, very new and different to us.
Should be.
Coach,
thanks for being our guest.
Thank you, Coach.
Canandaigua football's in great hands.
Thank you.
Best of luck to you.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yep. Now at the end of our show, 1, 2, 3, and we point and say, "Keeping it real, Section 5 football." You ready?
Yep.
1, 2, 3.
Keeping it real, Section 5 football.
Good night, everybody. Have a great night.
One in a million, super rich. Got so much dough, I don't know what to do with it. Suddenly, a part of me just wants to go back to how it used to be.